friends, it's Miss Jenny. It's chapter book time. And this book was suggested to us by Marcus M. He's read all the Barkus books, and he suggested that we read it because we would like it. And I noticed Barkus, Marcus. Barkus, Marcus, those two rhyme. Barkus, Marcus, those two rhyme. Barkus, Marcus, those two rhyme. They sound the same at the end. Woo! Marcus, is that why you like this book? Because it rhymes with your name? So Barkus is a dog. And this is the first book of the series of Barkus books. Barkus books, oh my goodness, they both start with B. This one is the number 1 book, the first book, because it starts with the number 1. So a book series is a number of books with the same characters. So the character is Barkus. I'm not sure who she is, so we'll have to read and find out. So after book 1 comes what number? 1, 2. Easy. So the book is by Patricia and illustrated by Mark. So let's look at the cover. Look at the back of the book. That says, meet Barkus. Barkus is loyal, Barkus is generous, and Barkus is family. Aww. Okay, let's open the book. See if it does that magic trick. Nope. But the yellow dots continue from the front of the front cover to the back cover. So Barkus, this book, has chapters in them, but I was looking at the book and each chapter is a different story. Sorry, I was going to point out that. Each chapter is a different story. So this says contents. The table of contents tells us the different chapters in the story. So the first chapter, chapter 1 is first, and that is the chapter Barkus. And that starts also on page 1. So these are the pages. The chapters are in the book. Barkus Sneaks is on page 8. Bark in the Dark, ooh, is on page 16. Barkus Finds a Baby is on page 26, and the story is on page 36. So today I'm just going to read one of the chapters. Let's see, which is one of the stories. And that chapter is only 8 pages. And I want to show moms and dads, these are the words. So it looks like it's nice big print, but some of the words are tough. So this isn't like a beginning reading book. If you're looking for a beginning reading book, you need word families, like words that sound the same at the end, like the dog sat on the log, as many as you can of those words. That would be easier to read. So I'm going to read Barkus, the first chapter in our Barkus series, okay? Let's look at the pictures. On a windy day, my favorite uncle, Uncle Everton, knocked on the door. He wore a long plaid overcoat and a black wool cap. I bought a present, he called. Who's the present for? I asked. You, Nicky, roared Uncle Everton happily. Uncle Everton held a leash. Start thinking. Who would go on a leash? At one end was Uncle Everton, and on the other end, oh, I can't wait to see, was a very big brown dog. Who do you think that is? Oh my, said the mother. He's big, said the father. His name is Barkus, said Uncle Everton. I'll be traveling around the world, and Barkus does not like to travel. He would rather stay with you. I patted Barkus. Barkus is very smart, said Uncle Everton. Smartest dog in the whole world. Does he sit? I asked. So Nikki is the little girl. Because he said, I brought a present for you, Nikki. Sit. Barkus sat on my foot. He likes you already, said Uncle Everton. Does he do any tricks? I asked. Yes, said Uncle Everton. Many tricks. Jump, Barkus. Barkus jumped, whirled around, and then Uncle Everton said, whirl around. And look at Barkus whirled and whirled and whirled and whirled. Whoa, that's quite a jump for a dog. So he sits, he jumps, and he whirls. Well, does he get along with people? Asked my mother. That's a good question. Yes, said Uncle Everton. Well, does he bark? Said my father. Only when he wants to, said Uncle Everton. Is there anything Barkus doesn't do? I asked. Yes, said Uncle Everton. Barkus doesn't bite. That's a good thing. Yay. Well, then I'll keep him, I said. Thank you. You're welcome, said Uncle Everton. And that is how Barkus became my dog. I bet you the next chapter is another story. So now that's why we read chapter 1 in book 1 first, because now we know the little girl's name is Nikki, and that's how she got Barkus, was by watching Barkus for her Uncle Everton. So that's kind of the backstory. You need to know how she got the dog. The next chapter is Barkus Sneaks. I'll show you the picture. I think I'm going to read one more because I just get so excited. If you want to pause and listen to the next story later, that's okay. Sometimes you get busy and you have to do things. All right, this one is Barkus Sneaks on chapter 8. It starts. It was Monday morning. I put on my sweater, my coat, and my boots. Barkus watched me. Then I put on my gloves. Barkus watched me then. Goodbye, Barkus. I'll see you after school. I patted him on the head and I went to the door. When I looked back, Barkus was still watching through the window. Oh, look at his face. Look at his eyes. He kind of looks sad that she's going to school. I walked down Willow Street. There were leaves on the sidewalk, and my boots made crunchy sound in the leaves. Soon I heard another sound. I turned. But there was only green pine trees there. Look at friends. That doesn't look like a tree. Uh-oh. What is happening? Who is following her? I began walking again, and then I heard the sound again. I turned around. Nothing. When I got to school, I opened the door. So when she turns around, he hides behind the tree. I opened the door at school and Barkus rushed in. See how I got louder? Because that's an exclamation point. So she's kind of saying it excited and screaming. Barkus rushed in the school. Mrs. Gregorian, my teacher, smiled. Well, who is this, Nikki? She asked. That's my new dog, Barkus, I said. He followed me to school. He's kind of a sneak. Can you imagine if your dog followed you to school, if you have a dog? Oh, no. Is he friendly? Asked Mrs. Gregorian. Yes, I said. And he doesn't bite. That's very good, said Mrs. Gregorian. Can he sit quietly? Get the picture. Barkus looks so excited. Look at this little girl right there. She looks a little scared. She's been probably told by her mom and dad that if you see a new dog, you don't touch it unless you ask permission. Oh my goodness. The teacher is letting the dog stay at school. The teacher wrote on the board. What did she write on the board, friends? D-O-G. Let's see. Yes, I said, Barkus can sit very quietly. Barkus sat right next to me at my desk, and he helped me paint a picture. He read a book with me, and then when Mrs. Gregorian wrote letters on the blackboard, D-O-G, Barkus barked. D-A-G. He knew how to read dog. He is really smart. I think Barkus knows his letters, Mrs. Gregorian said. Maybe he will help us all learn to read. Yay! Yelled the children, yay! And that is how Barkus became our class dog. Oh, look at that. Isn't that nice? He's sitting nicely, he's listening. So we have a class caterpillar, and we'll have a class butterfly. They have a class dog. I like this book. Thank you, Barkus, for suggesting us read this at chapter book time. And I also ordered 2 more books to read. But if any of my families have books out there that they think the class would like to hear, just let Miss Jenny know, because I love to have new books. So this is a new one. Then I'll have to get number 2 next. But thank you for suggesting it, families. All right. I'll see you soon. I'll wish you well. We wish you well. We wish you well. All throughout the day today, we wish you well. Bye, my friends.